Over the years, smartphones have gotten bigger than ever, like this one. But today what we have here is truly something special. It's the tiniest flagship Android smartphone that I've used so far, and it is very reminiscent of Android smartphones from about 5 years ago. I've been using this phone for about 2 weeks right now, and here's what I really have to share with you. But in summary, I'm really liking this tiny smartphone, so let's get into it. So let's start off with a bit of a history class. ASUS has been making smartphones for a very long time now, and back when the OnePlus One was making waves in the smartphone world, ASUS released the Padphone S, which I have it right here. It's a little bit beaten up to say the least, but in terms of size, it is actually very similar to the new Zenfone 8. And because of that alone, the Zenfone 8 feels like a blast to the past because it's such a small smartphone and it feels like I'm using the Padphone S once again. Mind you, the Padphone S is already 7 years old. And obviously, the Zenfone 8 does come with a modern look too. When I first held this phone, the new matte finish at the back of this phone just feels amazing. It feels like it's coming out of one of their premium lineup of laptops, but I can't really tell you which laptop in particular, but this is definitely a very nice back to just touch. Plus, its size is not really conforming to any typical smartphone design that we've come to expect over the years. It's short, narrow, and this makes one-handed usability really feasible for someone with big hands like mine. And it also has one-handed mode as well, which can be activated by swiping the lower part of this screen right here to bring everything down. Now you might say, the ASUS Zenfone 8 does look a little bit thick, and yes, that's true, but it doesn't really matter because it's so small anyway. In fact, the thickness brings two different benefits. Number one is obviously for a better grip, and number two is to stuff in more hardware. For example, a 3.5mm audio jack at the top. And I think this is one of the very few smartphones that still has an audio jack, and yet it is still equipped with a Snapdragon 888 chipset inside. And yes, you heard me right, the Zenfone 8 does come with a Snapdragon 888 chipset inside. And now, this phone isn't particularly aimed towards gaming, but it's still gonna perform well in day-to-day tasks even with some gaming. But if you want to check out the dedicated gaming video for the ASUS Zenfone 8, do check it out at the top right corner there. As a summary though, Genshin Impact at the highest possible graphical settings at 60 FPS is still gonna be really hot, just like many other Snapdragon 888 chipset phones. And truth be told though, gaming on a phone with such a small screen is a rather weird experience. It's definitely not the best, so I would suggest you to maybe take a look at the brand new ROG Phone 5 if you want to play some mobile games instead, which you can also check out our review at the top right corner there. Okay, now for the screen here. The ASUS Zenfone 8 comes with a 5.92-inch 1080p AMOLED screen that is made by Samsung, and it also can go up to 120Hz refresh rate. And from what we've tested, this display does have a pretty high color accuracy for both sRGB and DCI-P3 color gamut coverage at 99% and 94% coverage respectively. And by the way, the ASUS Zenfone 8 also has a pretty rare feature, which is low brightness DC dimming. Usually, smartphones use PWM to flicker the light really quick to adjust its brightness, perceived brightness more like. But at lower brightness, the flickering will be a bit more obvious to some people, which will cause eye fatigue. And this is where DC dimming comes into the rescue. The ASUS Zenfone 8 comes with a 4000 mAh battery, which I think is surprisingly big for a phone of this size, and it can reach up to like about 10 hours in our battery life test while locked at 120Hz refresh rate. That only goes to show how clean and optimized the software truly is. And by the way, ASUS also included a 30-watt charger inside the box. And the charging time though, it's a little bit weird. We found out that it took about 80-ish minutes to charge from 15 to 100%, which is kind of slow, I would say, and the charging curve is also rather erratic as the charging curve is not really smooth. And then exploring some of the settings in the phone, we found out that the ASUS Zenfone 8 can enable something called steady charging. This option really did smooth out the charging curve, but it also takes about more or less the same amount of time to charge from 15 to 100%. Now, we don't know what's happening here, but we presume ASUS is doing this to protect the battery health to make it last as long as possible, hence the erratic charging battery curve, which means that ASUS doesn't want to charge the battery as fast as possible. And ASUS also provides the option to schedule your battery charging, so it will only charge up to 100% right before you usually unplug the phone. Or maybe just limit the battery altogether to not charge to 100%, and this will definitely prolong your battery health even further. And by the way, the ASUS Zenfone 8 also has a feature that has been long forgotten, which is the notification LED. It is placed at the bottom of the phone right beside the USB Type-C port, to which I say, it's a nice addition. And now the cameras. Because the ASUS Zenfone 8 is so small, we only have two cameras at the back of this phone. We have the usual main camera and also an ultra-wide angle camera, but there's no telephoto camera. I'm okay with this since I know a lot of people don't actually use their telephoto camera anyway. And throughout my test though, the ASUS Zenfone 8 does take a lot of amazing pictures. Both the main and ultra-wide angle cameras can take amazing shots with great dynamic range, and both of these cameras also have very close color consistency as well. I also realized that while the ASUS Zenfone 8 doesn't have an explicit macro mode, we can still take some fantastic close-up pictures. And also, the ASUS Zenfone 8 can capture some fantastic night shots too, which I was really surprised since the dynamic range of this shot is particularly difficult, and yet the ASUS Zenfone 8 manages to pull right through. I should also mention that both the main and ultra-wide angle cameras have autofocusing lenses, so expect crisp shots from both of these cameras on the phone. For video though, it does come with OIS and it manages to correct a very bumpy 4K 60fps video spectacularly well, while still maintaining really good video quality too. As for the selfie camera, I'm not really a selfie guy, but it does take some fantastic shots right here. As for vlogging, it captures 1080p 60fps or 4K 30fps, but we stuck with 1080p 60fps for the purpose of this video. And I would have to say, the microphone on this phone here for vlogging is fantastic. So take a listen at the sample here. Hello everyone, this is a quick selfie video test of the Zenfone 8. Yes, it's a very compact phone and I'm loving it so far because it offers so much power in such a small form factor, which, to be honest, I kind of miss this kind of small phones. And yeah, this is a quick selfie video test, so let me know how this thing actually looks and sounds down in the comment section below. I know this mask is a bit oversized, but it's what I have. And we also shouldn't forget about the software. The ASUS Zenfone 8 uses Zen UI, which I think they're still calling it Zen UI. It's been many years since I last used a Zenfone. Anyway, the Zen UI here is clean and close to stock Android, just like what I remembered many years ago. Settings menu are tidy, and everything is laid out in a very logical manner. So all in all, the ASUS Zenfone 8, it manages to capture my attention when I first set my eyes on it. It charmed me with its size and build quality, and made me love it more because of what it can offer in such a small size. And what ASUS has ultimately created here is a phone that I'll call it as minimalist, because ASUS made all the right choices when cutting out all of the excess to create this tiny phone. I can't really find any major fault with the ASUS Zenfone 8 because it's technically kind of flawless in my books, but I am worried about the long term though. I'm uncertain about how long ASUS is going to support the Zenfone 8 in terms of software, and also how quickly they can deliver the updates. But I think that's the only thing I can nitpick about the ASUS Zenfone 8. And I would highly recommend you to get this phone if you're looking for a high-end Android phone at a really small size. And yeah, that's it. That's all we have to share with you about the ASUS Zenfone 8. Truly loving this phone. And if you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section below. We'll see you guys in the next video.